Let's do one quick thing here as well. Let's talk about scope. So we talked about variables, we talked about functions and objects and statics. Let's talk about scope. So let's say, for example, we're in this constructor right here. So first of all, we have this initial deposit, and this initial deposit will not be available, for example, in this other method. That's because this variable was defined within another method. So what we see here is that variables are only accessible within the block that they were defined. Okay, so initial deposit is available inside here. Let's say, for example, we have if init deposit is greater than 1,000. Let's say if it's less than 1,000. Then we say something like sysout air minimum deposit must be at least $1,000. And then we can create some kind of error message like string error message. Actually, let's do this. Let's put this equal to that error message. And then print the error message. Okay, so what's going on here? So we have a variable inside an if statement inside a method. So we can't access, if we try and, for example, print the error message outside the if block, right? So let's say we do something like, just change this to actual message. So we might be tempted to do something like this. Else if init deposit, or just say else, right? We'll say sysout thanks for your initial deposit of and then print init deposit. Okay, actually no, we want the message, right? We want our string message defined here. There we go. Okay, so if we wanted this to be the case, we have a variable inside this if block, and we have a variable inside this if block. But that variable is not defined outside the if block, so I can't print it outside the if block. So how we can kind of remedy this is let's create this variable string message set equal to just empty, either double quotes or we can set it equal to null. Then we want to change this to message and then message. Now we can print the message. So we need to be careful with how we access variables when we access them, and make sure we're in line properly with accessing variables only within the blocks that they were defined. Now, of course, it works trickle down. Any variable defined in a parent block will be accessible in a child block, but you can't work the other way around. So again, this message or this initial deposit, because they were defined within this block, are not available in any other block. If we wanted to, for example, we can do this. We can say string balance. We'll say equal. We should initialize it to 0. Okay. So after they make their initial deposit, or not string, we want double. After they make their initial deposit, let's add balance equals balance plus init deposit. Okay? And then we can then access this balance inside, let's say, check balance. So sysout. So balance is the balance. Okay, so let's just check this out here. So we're going to call this here, and let's call account 2 then dot get, or check balance is what it was. Okay, so now I run this here, and there we go. In response 5. Okay. Okay, so something didn't work here. Let's go back here and see what I'm missing. Balance equals. Well, what we should do actually is just set equal to init deposit. right? Because that's going to be the initial balance right there. And then we're going to run this here. Still not showing up. I'm calling the wrong method. I want count 3. There we go. There we go. I was calling the method for the wrong object. So there we have our print balance. So in other words, what did I do here? We wanted balance to be available all throughout this class. We want to declare it outside all the methods, but we can update it within the method within local variables. So the scope here we have here. So let me say this. These are all instance variables, right? This is a static variable up here. This is a static variable. This is an instance variable. And then these are all, so we'll say that, so init, deposit, account type, and then message are all local variables, right? So local variables are defined within blocks, defined within methods, defined within if statements, defined within loops. They only exist within that block, and then any subsequent blocks, but not anything above that, or sibling blocks. So we have local variables, we have instance variables, and we have static variables, and that is our scope of the variables.